Have you ever sat at the edge of your bed at night wondering if the food you ate today is quietly helping your kidneys or silently pushing you one step closer to dialysis? It's a terrifying thought, and most people never say it out loud. But as a kidney specialist, I know that fear is real. Because the truth is harsh. One single wrong food choice, something as simple as the type of meat on your dinner plate, can spike your creatinine, tighten your blood vessels, and accelerate the very decline you're fighting so hard to slow down. And what makes it worse is that many patients think avoiding all meat will save them, while others keep eating whatever they want, believing nothing will change anyway. Both groups are unknowingly walking straight toward danger, not because they lack discipline, but because no one ever explained the truth to them. I'm Dr. Mark Ellis, and today, I'm going to give you the explanation most doctors skip, the part that determines whether your kidneys slowly heal or quietly collapse. Because despite what you may have heard, not all meats are harmful. In fact, a select few, when chosen and prepared the right way, can protect your kidneys, lower the inflammatory load, steady your GFR, and even help bring your creatinine back into a safer range. And that's exactly why this video matters. If you've been confused about what's safe to eat, afraid to touch anything on your plate, or worried that every bite might be hurting you, stay with me. What you're about to hear could change the future of your kidney health far more than you realize. And before we dive into the first life-saving protein, let me tell you this: once you understand how one simple meat can either keep your kidneys breathing easier or suffocate them with hidden toxins, you'll never look at your meals the same way again, because your recovery can begin with something as ordinary and as powerful as the food sitting right in front of you. When most kidney patients hear the word meat, they immediately tense up as if every piece of protein is a ticking time bomb waiting to destroy their GFR. But here's the truth. I wish more people knew your kidneys don't fear protein. They fear the wrong kind of protein. And that's why the first meat on this list, the one I've recommended to thousands of my patients, is something surprisingly simple: skinless chicken breast. Not because it's trendy, not because it's bland and safe, but because it delivers exactly what damaged kidneys need without drowning them in toxic byproducts. Let me show you what I mean. I once had a patient named Robert, a 63-year-old retired engineer, who came into my office exhausted, frightened, and convinced he had to give up all meat forever. His creatinine had jumped from 1.9 to 2.3 in just 3 months, and he blamed every meal he'd eaten. But when we looked closer, the problem wasn't protein itself, it was the type of protein and how it was cooked. He was eating a lot of dark meat chicken, the kind loaded with fat and purines. After switching him to controlled portions of skinless chicken breast, gently cooked instead of fried or charred, his next labs told a different story. His creatinine dropped back to 2.0. His energy returned, and for the first time in a long time, he felt in control of his health again. It was a small shift with a massive impact, and it's one I've watched repeat itself again and again in patients across the country. And here's why chicken breast works so well on a biochemical level. Every 100 grams gives you around 31 grams of clean, low-waste protein, the kind of protein your body can use to maintain muscle without dumping excessive nitrogen waste into your bloodstream. That means less urea, fewer metabolic toxins, and less pressure on the glomeruli, the tiny filters keeping you alive. Not only that chicken breast contains far less saturated fat than beef or dark meat poultry, which helps lower systemic inflammation, a hidden driver of kidney decline that many people never see coming. And for patients fighting anemia, the heme iron, B6, niacin, selenium, and zinc in chicken breast offer a nutritional lifeline your body desperately needs to produce healthy red blood cells and repair damaged tissue. The real problem isn't the chicken, it's what people do to it. High heat grilling, pan frying, deep frying, charring, all of that turns a kidney-friendly food into a biochemical grenade. These cooking methods create ages and heterocyclic amines, toxins that stiffen blood vessels, inflame kidney tissue, and quietly push your creatinine higher without you understanding why. I've lost count of how many patients told me, "But doctor, it was just chicken," without realizing the cooking method was doing the real damage. When you cook chicken breast, gently baking at 350 degrees, boiling at low heat, steaming or marinating with lemon or apple cider vinegar, you dramatically cut down toxin formation and allow your kidneys to process the protein in peace. And if you're wondering whether portion size matters, let me be clear: absolutely yes. The safest range is 3 to 4 ounces per serving up to twice a day. More than that, and even clean protein becomes too much for weakened kidneys to handle. Think of it like giving a tired worker a stack of paperwork. One folder is manageable, but a whole filing cabinet will break them down. Chicken breast gives your kidneys the folders, not the whole cabinet. And that difference is what keeps your energy steady, your muscle intact, and your creatinine from creeping upward meal by meal. Now, before we leave chicken breast behind, let me say this understanding: its benefits is only half the battle. What truly determines whether this meat heals you or harms you is how you cook it and how consistently you eat it. And yes, we'll talk about the safest cooking techniques later in the video. But knowing this alone isn't enough, because there's another factor, one that most kidney patients completely overlook, that can be far more dangerous than protein itself. And that's where the next meat on this list becomes so important. And once you understand how chicken breast can become a quiet protector for your kidneys, it becomes even more surprising to discover that the next meat on this list is something most people assume they should avoid entirely. Pork often gets labeled as too heavy, too fatty, or too risky for kidney patients, but that's only true for the wrong cuts. Hidden beneath all the misconceptions is one cut of pork that behaves completely differently: pork tenderloin. Lean, clean, and shockingly gentle on weakened kidneys when prepared correctly. It's the kind of food that can change a patient's entire relationship with protein. I'll never forget a woman named Linda, a 58-year-old teacher who came to see me after her primary doctor told her to cut out all pork forever. She looked tired, frustrated, and honestly a little defeated. Pork had been part of her family meals her whole life, and giving it up felt like giving up a part of herself. But when I reviewed her diet and lab work, something stood out. She wasn't eating fatty pork. She was actually eating tenderloin trimmed and cooked simply without sauces or curing agents. So instead of removing it, we structured her portions, balanced her meals, and adjusted cooking temperatures. 3 months later, her creatinine dropped slightly, her inflammation markers stabilized, and she told me with tears in her eyes, "I feel like I got my life back, doctor." That's the real power of choosing the right cut, not the loudest myth. Scientifically, pork tenderloin earns its place here for a reason. Every 100 grams carries about 22 grams of high-quality protein, enough to support muscle without drowning your kidneys in nitrogen waste. It also contains less saturated fat than most beef cuts, which helps calm systemic inflammation, something many kidney patients unknowingly struggle with daily. And when it comes to minerals, tenderloin offers a balanced profile: heme iron, which your body absorbs easily to fight anemia; zinc and selenium, two minerals that activate your body's natural defense systems against oxidative stress; and a steady but manageable amount of phosphorus and potassium, which makes portion control crucial but not frightening. But there is an important truth every kidney patient needs to hear: pork tenderloin can help you, or it can hurt you, depending entirely on how it's prepared. High heat frying, smoking, curing, or grilling without a marinade transforms this gentle cut into a source of ages and preservatives that spike inflammation and stress your kidneys in ways you might not feel immediately, but your lab numbers will. This is why processed pork, bacon, ham, smoked tenderloin is absolutely not the same as fresh tenderloin. The difference is night and day. When you cook it gently, bake it at 350 degrees, or poach it around 200 degrees and season with herbs and lemon, instead of heavy salt, you're giving your kidneys protein they can use without overloading them with toxins. And yes, portion size still matters. Stick to 3 to 4 ounces no more than twice a day, because even high-quality protein becomes a burden when the kidneys are already fighting for you behind the scenes. Think of pork tenderloin as the soft-footed visitor your kidneys welcome, but only if it enters quietly and respectfully. It supports your energy, protects your muscles, and stabilizes your blood work in a way fatty cuts never could. But understanding this still isn't the full picture. Choosing the right cuts and using the right cooking methods is essential, but there's another kind of protein, one that looks innocent, gentle, even luxurious, that carries risks people rarely talk about. And this next one doesn't come from the land at all, which is why the final meat on this list may surprise you far more than the first two. But knowing this alone isn't enough, because the next protein could determine whether your kidneys stay stable or decline faster than you expect. And after seeing how pork tenderloin can shift from a misunderstood villain to a kidney-safe ally, it's time to talk about the meat that surprises almost every patient I meet. Because unlike chicken breast or pork tenderloin, this one doesn't come from the land at all. It comes from the ocean, and it carries a unique kind of power that can either defend your kidneys like a shield or quietly damage them if you don't understand how it works. I'm talking about salmon, a food that's praised on every health blog yet misunderstood in almost every nephrology clinic. I remember a patient named Harold, a 71-year-old veteran, who walked into my office clutching a stack of lab results and shaking his head. His primary doctor told him to avoid fish completely because of too much phosphorus. The problem was, salmon was the only protein Harold genuinely enjoyed and felt good eating, so he was torn between fear and comfort, unsure of what to trust. When we reviewed his numbers together, it became clear the issue wasn't salmon, it was the portion size, and the fact that he'd been eating smoked salmon, which is loaded with sodium and nitrates. Once he switched to fresh, wild-caught salmon, baked gently instead of smoked or pan-fried, something remarkable happened. His inflammation markers dropped, his triglycerides improved, and for the first time in 2 years, his morning blood pressure normalized. That was when he looked at me and said, "I wish someone had explained this sooner." And that's exactly why this part of the video matters. From a scientific perspective, salmon is a nutritional powerhouse, but only when used correctly. Just 3 ounces provide around 20 grams of clean, complete protein, enough to help repair damaged nephrons without overwhelming the kidneys with nitrogen waste. And unlike many meats, salmon offers something uniquely therapeutic, the omega-3 fatty acids EPA and DHA. These aren't buzzwords. They're biochemical tools your kidneys rely on to survive inflammation. Omega-3s slip into your cell membranes and calm the cytokines that cause protein leakage, reduce glomerular pressure, and accelerate the scarring process behind chronic kidney disease. Several studies, including large cohort analyses, show that patients who regularly consume omega-3 rich fish experience slower GFR, decline, reduced triglycerides, and lower risk of cardiovascular complications, something every CKD patient should care deeply about. But salmon's benefits don't stop with omega-3s. It also contains vitamin D, a nutrient most kidney patients are critically deficient in. Without enough vitamin D, calcium and phosphorus spiral out of balance. The parathyroid hormone surges and bones weaken, while blood vessels calcify, a chain reaction that silently damages kidneys. Salmon helps stabilize that entire system. On top of that, you get vitamin B12, niacin, vitamin B6, selenium, magnesium, and a small but meaningful amount of heme iron, each of them contributing to improved blood flow, better oxygen delivery, and stronger metabolic stability. This is why some patients feel noticeably more energized after adding salmon to their diet. Their blood is literally carrying nutrients more efficiently. But just like the previous meat, salmon can turn against you if handled incorrectly. High heat frying or charring destroys omega-3 fatty acids and turns them into inflammatory compounds known as AGEs, which harden blood vessels and push your creatinine upward. And smoked salmon, which many people think is harmless, is actually one of the worst offenders for kidney health due to its extreme sodium content and preservatives. That's why fresh, wild-caught salmon baked at 350 turni, steamed gently for 12 minutes, or cooked in a foil packet to preserve moisture, is the only truly kidney-friendly way to enjoy it. And portion size matters here even more. Stick to 2 servings per week, about 3 ounces each, because too much phosphorus or potassium can strain already fragile kidneys. Think of salmon like a medicine. A small controlled dose can heal, but the wrong form or too much of it can harm. When patients learn to treat it that way as something powerful, not casual, their labs, their energy, and even their confidence often improve. But even with everything salmon offers, even with all the healing potential packed inside that soft pink fillet, this still isn't the full picture of protecting your kidneys. Because knowing which meats help you is important, but there's an even bigger factor that determines whether your kidneys stay stable or decline faster than expected. A factor most people never think about, and one that we're finally going to uncover as we move into the final part of this journey. But knowing this alone isn't enough, because the next truth could change everything about how you protect your kidneys. After everything we've talked about today, I want you to remember this: you are not powerless in your fight against kidney disease. Every choice you make, every meal, every portion, every way you prepare your food is a small act of protection for the kidneys that work nonstop to keep you alive. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get everything right at once. Even small steps like choosing chicken breast over fatty cuts, selecting pork tenderloin instead of processed meats, or preparing salmon the gentle way can shift your health in a direction you never thought possible. And you deserve to feel that hope again. If today's video helped you understand your body better, I want to encourage you to do something simple but important. Save this video so you can come back to it whenever you feel overwhelmed, and subscribe to this channel so you never miss the newest medical guidance, kidney-safe recipes, and evidence-based tips I share every week. Your kidneys don't get days off, and you shouldn't go through this journey without support. By subscribing, you're joining a community of people learning, healing, and fighting for their health together. And as you move forward, please hold on to this one message. Kidney disease is not the end of your story. Your labs are not your destiny. Healing doesn't happen because you're lucky. It happens because you choose day after day to give your body the chance to get better. And I promise you, the moment you begin treating food like medicine, your kidneys will feel the difference long before you see it on a lab report. So don't give up, don't lose hope, and don't forget that you have more control than you've been told. I'm here for you, and I'll be right beside you in the next video, helping you protect the organs that protect your life.